We're having some
Oh,
technical
wait. Now
difficulties.
it's better.
You can hear good?
Yeah. Sometimes I think the
Let's fix the cord. Okay. No, just one time, when I was doing when we were doing a podcast with someone else, there was an issue near the end of the podcast and something happened with the cord. But I think yeah, it should be is if can you hear now? Everything's good?
yeah, I can hear it now. This happened to me the other day. I was recording and then it stopped it, but then now it started again. So it could be a connection thing, but I think we're fine.
Okay.
So all right. And so I always do my own intro, so that's why we're just gonna jump right in. Because like
Okay,
after
okay.
we're done, I'm gonna like yeah. So
All right. Sounds good.
all right.
What was your intro like? Or can you play it too or no?
Well, it'll be played later. Like
Okay,
I'll
okay.
put it in later. My intro, if you've ever heard it, it's the corniest thing in the world. It's an actual like it sounds like you would hear it at a carnival.
Okay, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
someone made it for me. It's funny.
Okay.
But anyways, okay. All right. Hi, Bwanka. How are you?
I'm doing incredible. What about you, Tony?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited
Yeah,
to get it
my
talking.
pleasure. Bwanka is a podcast host of the Continual Growth podcast, and he specializes in helping people develop building habits that are and helping them with consistency. And anybody, you guys listening, you guys know I talk all about consistency in your nutrition, consistency in your workouts. If you really want to see results, we have to build healthy habits in order to see those results. So I wanted to bring Bwanka on because not only does he teach people to do that, but his whole podcast, his whole concept is all about helping people to grow themselves and continually be better, which I believe in very strongly. I think that's why we're here on this earth to do. I don't think we're ever done growing. And so it just felt like it was a great combination to include. So yeah, so welcome.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. So tell us a little bit more about kind of just who you are, where you're from, your background, and how you even got up to this point today.
Okay, okay, let's jump into it. Let's jump into it right away. So basically, growing up, I love sports. I love basketball. I thought I was gonna be a basketball star. I mean, you guys can't tell, but I'm not that tall, so that dream did not last too long. So because I thought I was gonna be a basketball player, all I cared about was basketball, and I didn't care about school at all. So fast forward, I ended up just working labor jobs because if you don't do good in school, there's you need a degree or a certificate to be able to get a good job. And I just ended up in labor jobs. So probably from all throughout like most of my 20s, I worked a lot of labor jobs. I ended up going to the oil rigs. I know you guys have some oil rigs in America also, but here they're located in like the coldest place ever. So I was working on the oil rigs for probably like 5 years on and off, and this is like hell work. Like this is the worst work you could ever think of. You're working outside all day, every day, rain, snow, shine, doesn't matter. And you work 12 hours every single day, anywhere between 2 weeks. Sometimes you can even work 5 weeks straight, 35 days in a row. But I said that's what I want to do. I want to grind. I want to move my life forward. This is what I'm gonna do, and that was the only avenue that I really had. So I made a bunch of money, and I said, all right, I'm tired of this. Let me move to Toronto, go to a city because I was in the middle of nowhere. Let me go to a city and see what I can do, and that's where I started my entrepreneurial career. So this was about 5 years ago. I became part of a gym. I became a personal trainer, and within no time, I started like I was always training people here and there because like I like helping people. It's just something I enjoy. I've always been pretty like active and taking care of myself. But yeah, I became a personal trainer, and I started realizing like how impactful it can be when you help someone else,
Mm.
and it gave me so much joy, and I realized like there's so much in this in helping people, and all I was really helping them with was just their fitness. I wasn't helping them with life, with anything really. And I started realizing like, imagine if I could help them with life, because a lot of times, you have clients and they're asking you like other like they need advice on other things. but I wasn't always able to give the advice. So anyways, fast forward a little bit, and I started listening to some motivational topics. Like, I don't know if do you know Thomas E.T. the hip hop preacher?
No, but
No?
I'm surprised that I don't. I feel like I listen to everything motivational, inspirational out there. So definitely send it to me.
So anyways, Eric Thomas, he's the guy that says, like, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. It's like it's very inspirational. Anyways, I listened to this, and I started listening to him. He has this thing called Motivation Monday, and I would listen to it every single Monday. And I would just started realizing, like, you can do more, you can be more, you can learn anything. But then at this time, I heard a really great quote, and it was, there's not one thing that makes successful people. It's all their small habits put into one that makes them successful. Yes. And I was like, well, if that's the case, I just got to improve my habits. So then I started working on my habits, right? So I started trying to wake up earlier. I started trying to read, because I never read. I'd probably read 3 books in my whole entire life before that, no joke. I started trying to meditate. I even started trying to play the piano, because the piano is something that whenever I saw someone playing the piano, no joke, I would think, like, wow, this person, like, I don't know how they do it, but it's probably because they were taught when they were young. So in my head, I always thought the only way you can ever learn to play piano is if you went to school or something, someone taught you when you were young. So I said, well, if I can learn how to play piano, I think I can learn how to do anything. So anyways, I'm trying to do all these things at once, and I wasn't consistent with any of them. I was falling off here with everything. So then what I decided to do, okay, let me just take it just one habit at a time. Let me just pick one habit, focus on one habit for 21 days, turn it into a habit. So it's part of my daily life. And if I can just do one every single month, there's 12 months in a year from now, I'm going to be a totally different person. And I stuck to it. And the first thing that I did was meditation. So meditation, this was a serious.
That's a really hard one to start with.
Yeah. So the reason I did it was because I was terrible at focusing, and I knew I really needed to improve my focus. And I started using an app. It's called Calm, and I would just do 10 minutes every day. And the first week, I started on Monday. I love my Mondays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, fell off. I'm like, damn. That was a little tougher than I thought. So I'm like, all right, Monday, I'm going to get it. Monday comes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, fall off. I'm like, all right, this Monday, I'm going to stick to it. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday came, and I made it past the 4 days. I kept going. I got to day 14. So now we're on a Sunday, right? And the next day was a Monday, and it was packed. Like, I back-to-back meetings, like clients, the whole entire day. So I know if I don't do this in the morning, I'm not going to make it happen.
Totally.
So Monday, I woke up 2 hours earlier than I normally wake up. I did my meditation, did everything I had to do, got to where I needed to be, and I was early. And I thought to myself, I'm like, wow, like, I got my meditation in. I used to think meditation was for hippies. I never, ever in my life thought I would ever do meditation. And now I'm waking up 2 hours early to do meditation. I'm like, now it's becoming a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, and since that day, I've never missed a day of meditation. So now I don't know what number I'm like 850 something.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've done like 850 days of meditation. But that was the kicker. That was the one that got me started. So after that, I'm like, okay, if I can do 21 days of meditation, what's going to happen with the next thing? Let me try reading, because I've always struggled at reading. When I would try to read, I would read a page. It would take me 10 minutes to read 2 pages, because I would read the page and then I'll be like, oh, I don't remember what I read. Let me go back, and I'll start again. And then I'll read it. And anyways, it would take me forever. So I'm like, all right, let me just get rid of all my distractions, because usually distractions are what's doing it. Got rid of all my distractions. I did it right after I meditated, so I had better focus. And I was able to finish my first book. And I was like so proud of myself. Then I'm like, maybe I can finish 3. And I did 21 days straight on that one. And once I did that 21 days straight, I finished one book. I started the second book, and I realized like, wow, this is actually working. I'm only two habits in, but like this is actually working, and I'm starting to see a change. And then from there, it was just creating more and more and more habits. And now I've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years now, and I have I don't know, I've built over like 30 different habits that I don't do them every single day, but I'm consistent with them. And
Mm-hmm.
they've really helped my life. And what happened next was people started noticing what was happening. And I started telling people like, all you got to do is just improve your habits, and your life is going to improve. And slowly but surely, people started listening. People started, mostly my friends, because that's who you always start out with.
Yeah.
But they started building habits, and then we ended up creating a WhatsApp group, and everybody was holding each other accountable on their path to developing new habits. And then from there, just we kept growing and growing, and eventually we're like, all right, we can't just keep this to ourselves, because if we just keep this to ourselves, that's selfish. We need to tell everybody that we know about this. We need to get the word out there, and we need to help other people start improving their lives.
Wow. That is amazing. So many things that I want to talk about that we can kind of just like unpack a little bit. I think what's really interesting is you had made a decision that you were going to do something and you did it. Like that, I think is just plain and simple. I think a lot of people kind of think like they can't do something or they're not going to do it. It's because they don't want to. Like you said, when you were in school growing up, you weren't good in school, right? So you had this story that you were telling yourself of like,
Yep.
I'm not good at school, so I'm not going to learn. And so you didn't go to school, and so you didn't learn, and instead you went into construction, right? So versus like now you're like, no, I want to learn how to read. Or not learn how to read, but I want to read more, right? And so I want to do it. So you kind of changed, because you changed your mind of who you were, and said you were going to do it, you did it. Same thing with like your old belief of only hippies meditate. Like if you tell yourself these things, you're not going to change, right? But if you tell yourself I'm going to do it, you're going to stick to it and you're going to do it. And I love that you also mentioned at the end that you started a couple things. The one thing that you said where you got a group together, I think that's so, so important, because if you're super motivated and you really want to do something on your own, you're going to do it regardless, because I don't think anybody can waver because your decision's made up, right? But not everybody has that kind of clear path of like, this is what I'm doing no matter what anybody says. And that's when their group support is so helpful for accountability and just to help like keep it top of mind of like, this is important to me and I do want this. So I love that you said that. And then the last thing that you said was like, you realize you kind of had this secret, and if you kept it to yourself, that was selfish. And that is like why I love connecting with people who are in the podcast world, who are in the entrepreneurial space, who are, doing these great things for other people, because it feels so good to help others. And because it's true, like if you try to keep that to yourself, you're not helping anybody. Nobody, like even yourself, like you would benefit more by actually sharing it, because the more you tell other people, the more it resonates with you and the more it keeps you accountable. So it really is like a very positive circle. So I just want to say thank you for sharing kind of what you've learned in this process.
Yeah, so a lot of times, the inspirational people, the gurus, they're telling you like, you don't have to do what your friends are doing. Just go find new people, surround yourself with different people. But I don't think that's what it's about. I think you have to go do the work on your own first. Like you can't just say, hey guys, come with me and do this, because it's not proven. You go out there and you prove it, and then you can inspire other people and show them like, hey, this works. And then you keep moving forward and you bring all your people with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Now, so you started this, like you said, like 3 years ago, like your own personal journey was like about 3 years ago. And then when did you start teaching other people?
Yeah. So Right, like I told you, I was a personal trainer before, so I was teaching fitness,
Mm-hmm.
and as we continued, is still teaching people. But the company Continual Growth, we've been around for probably a year and a half now.
Awesome. And is it all online stuff? Like I know that, and then we're going to talk about it in a minute, but everything you do is online. So although you're in Canada, do you help people like in the US?
Yeah, we help people everywhere.
All over the
We have
world?
people from Australia, people
Cool.
from Costa Rica, people from
Cool.
yeah, we're everything that we do is virtual, so we can, as long as we can make the times work out, we can work with anybody, and
I love that.
as long as they speak English.
Yeah. Okay. So it's only English speaking.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they're listening to this podcast, I would assume.
100%. Yeah, America anywhere.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that. So, like, you had this idea and you had this concept and you ran with it, and now you have a business. So,
Yeah.
what exactly is the business? Like, how would you help someone? Like, kind of give us like the steps. Like, if say I was coming to you and I said, I want to exercise more. Because,
Okay, perfect.
yeah.
So what the first thing that we would do is we would set up like a complimentary growth coaching call. That's the first thing we do. It's
Nice.
no charge. And then what we're gonna do is we'll help you create goals, because first you need to know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, then you can't do anything. So the first thing that we do is we help you create goals. Make sure that you write them down. And the reason that we do that is because if you go and ask anybody, promise if you go and ask anybody, they're going to say, yeah, I got goals. But your goals are not real until you write them down. And the more you read them, the more you review them, the more you look at them, the more real they become. So the first thing that we do is we start out with helping you create the goals. And then from there, we're going to help you create a letter to myself. And a letter to myself, that's basically just, that's the decision that you make to yourself. So at the end of the day, we can be whoever we want. We can do whatever we want. Everything just comes down to the decisions that we make. So you decide who you want to be, the type of life that you want to live, and then you just go after it. In the beginning, you're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it 100%. But with time, repetition, you keep reading it, you start living in that life that you want to live. You start moving towards it. Eventually, that letter to myself, it becomes your life.
I love that so much. I can relate to that so much in the sense that for so many things, my own personal health and fitness journey for sure. I never thought, like right now, working on just getting like super, super fit. I never thought my body could get to a certain point, but the more I did it now, it's like, it's so much more real. But even like having my own business, I'm 28 years old as an entrepreneur. I thought I'd maybe do it when I was 30. Like, it's just like one of those things that it almost like seems so surreal, but I also knew that I wanted it. So I didn't, even though I didn't really fully believe it, I would like put it down on paper. And then when just like you said, you just do the work every day in, day out. And all of a sudden you're just like, wow, I'm getting closer. This is achievable. This is actually real. Like, I love that so much because it's so possible. And I love that you said, you might not believe it in the beginning, because chances are you're probably not. You're probably writing this letter. I'm sure people are like, I'm going to be a millionaire. And there's like, yes, like, right. But like, if you start to do the work, you might actually start to realize like, this is actually possible.
And then even with that letter, we make you read it to two of your closest friends, to your coach. But the first time I ever read mine to my friends, I didn't want to do it. I was like in a fight with myself that like the only way I can move forward is by doing this. And I remember like I was shaking, the papers were shaking. I didn't believe it at all. And now it's my life. So
Wow.
yeah, you don't believe it at first, but with work and with time, it happens.
I love that you make people read it to other people. Because that's when it's real, right? That's like the pressure comes on. It's like, I just said this out loud. So now I know that these people are kind of watching and waiting, and, the pressure's on, right? I think when we keep it in our head, sometimes that's our safety net, So I love that. I think you pull people outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah. Okay. So then the next thing that we do is we help them create like a daily schedule / routine kind of, but we don't just say like, all right, you're going to wake up at 5 a.m., then you're going to meditate, then you're going to do this. It's everything is catered to you and your individual needs.
Mm.
And we really, truly believe in starting small and taking those steps that will get you where you need to go instead of going 0 to 100 and then back up at 0 or negative 20,
Yeah.
negative 50. Because a lot of times that's what happens. People say, all right, I'm going to start going to the gym 6 times a week. And the first week you kill it 6 times a week. Easy work.
Mm-hmm.
The next week, 5 times a week, and you got a reason why you didn't make it. I'm sore, and the bus came late, and whatever. And then the next week, 3 times a week. And then the next week, you go on vacation, and then the next week you come back, and you're like, all right, fuck it. And that's what happens all the time.
Yep.
We don't go that way. We start with, let's just start with once a week. Let's start with once a week. Own once a week. Once you can own once a week, all right, let's move to 2 times a week. Own 2 times a week. Once you can own 2 times a week, now we can move to 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
We're really about creating the habit, but creating it so that it's strong and you're not going to waver.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you need a strong foundation. You're helping people build a strong foundation, it sounds like.
Yeah. So then we help them create that daily routine. You also get some of our products with it, which you can find on our site. I'll show them to you right now. Okay, so.
Cool. Okay. That's so awesome.
This is the 21s board. This is explicit. This is clean. The only difference is this one says to own my fucking life every day. I know. Some people, they want to go clean. They just want to own their life. But me personally, I told you, I came from the rigs, construction. For me, I want to own my fucking life.
You want it to sound like it matters.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever it is that you want to start out with, we always suggest start with something easy. Start with making your bed. Start with going for a 5-minute walk. Start with anything that's very easy. Because when you do stuff that's easy, it's going to give you the small wins, which is going to help a lot with the confidence. Mm-hmm. And really that's what this does. You can see in the bottom, these bottom nine numbers. Well, I guess people are listening. So basically it's a board.
Well, yeah. So yeah, if you guys are listening onto the podcast, I'm going to upload this onto YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it'll all be in the show notes so you can visually see this board because it is really, really awesome.
Yeah. So there's 21 different circles. There's a place for you to write what habit or what task you're going to do on a daily basis to start owning your life. And the bottom is that's about creating that foundation. I told you the first time I started, made day 3, day 4, still in the foundation, falling off. But once you get up in here, it's a tree because we're all about continual growth. Once you get past the into the branches and the leaves, that's when you start flowing. That's when it just becomes a part of your life. And that's where you're going to start building a lot of confidence and believing that it's going to happen. And then once you get to 21 days, now you've created a habit. So you've created the habit. So now you can keep doing it. And after 21 days of doing something in a row, you're going to know how often you want to do it. Because maybe you don't want to do it every single day. Maybe you don't have time to do it every single day because you're going to start adding other things. So then that's where this comes in. This is the high performance matrix. For anybody who can't see this, basically it's a weekly chart that's going to help you track once you have more than one habit that you're working on. There's a place for you to write your goal so you don't have to do it 7 days. We don't recommend ever putting 7 on. The highest you should go is 5. Because if you say 7 and you get 6, you're going to feel terrible. But if you say 4 and you get 6, you're going to feel incredible.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you're still getting 6. So we never tell anyone to put 7. The only thing that you need to be doing every single day is the 21 that you're working on, your main focus.
In the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning. And then after that, as long as you can do it more than 3 times or 4 times, more than 4 times a week, that's a win. You're winning the week. I mean, some things you only are going to do them like once a week. Like one of my things is swimming. I'm only swimming once a week. And that's good enough for me because I'm staying consistent with it.
Yeah, I love that. I'm the same thing. I try to do hot yoga once a week.
Mm-hmm.
because and it doesn't have to be an everyday thing, but it's still
Yeah.
something that's benefiting your health in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we can get caught up thinking consistency means every single day, but consistency just means doing it, sticking with it, right?
Yeah.
Over, if you think about like a year from now or 2 years from now, if you're doing something once a week, you're going to be really good at it 2 years from now, 3 years from now. It's going to be a part of your life.
Yeah. I don't think people really like understand the power of accumulation, right? And so I think that's really where the growth is happening. It's not happening the first time you do something or the second time you do something. It's happening over an a period of time that creates like this kind of like this new person. You can be a totally new person if you just focus on your habits.
100%.
Awesome. All right. Well, is there anything else you feel like our listeners need to know? Anything else that you provide that you think would be helpful for them?
Another thing that I would say is to own the morning.
Yes.
And I don't,
Morning routines.
yeah,
Yes.
and you need to own the morning, and but I'm not saying, hey, go wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I'm saying once you create the things that you want to do, you're gonna realize, hey, I don't have enough time in the day to
Mm-hmm.
get all these things done.
100%.
And the time that you own, the time where you're gonna have no distractions, the time when you're gonna be able to be most productive is the morning, because
Yes.
no one is calling you at 6 a.m. being like, Tony, what's going on? You, you
Yeah.
wanna link up? No, it's
Yeah.
not happening.
Mm-hmm.
The only time like it's a distraction free time, and that's when you can do your reading. That's when you can do your meditation, your thinking, your visualization. All
Mm-hmm.
of these habits that you, if you're looking to build them and you're looking to move your life forward, this is the best time to do them.
I could not agree with you more. I really couldn't. Like, I think that it's so important because basically what you're describing is if you're doing the things that matter to you the most and that are something that you value and are important to you, and you do those things first thing in the morning, your day, you're just going to have a better outlook on the day versus like if you're someone who knows exercise is important, you want to get your workout in, you're saving until the nighttime, you get distracted. Now you're thinking about it all day long. You're bitter that you potentially missed it, or now someone asked you to go to dinner, and you're like, I really wanted to catch up with this person, but I also committed to do my workout. It's like you can do both things,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to prioritize the things that are important. And I don't think enough people recognize the power of like discipline helps you to provide freedom. Like a consistent
Yes.
structured schedule is actually what allows you to live a more freeing life where you're not feeling like it's like you have to be on a schedule, but the structure is creating like this freedom for you. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people want to be free and they want to be able to like not be committed or not like have anything that's like rigid or whatever, but the small little structure is what helps you to achieve that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much. This has been awesome. I know we did a live together on Instagram, so I'm definitely going to, in the show notes, I'm going to put the links to your website. I'm going to put this video on YouTube so people can watch it and they can see your boards. And if they want to contact you, how would they do that?
So the best way that you can find us, you can find me on Instagram, Bwanka, Bwanka. Also Continual Growth on Instagram for our products, continualgrowth.ca. If you're looking for growth coaching, if you're someone who's, you're determined, you're hardworking, but maybe you just don't know the path that you need to go down to get there, try out our complimentary growth coaching call, and we're gonna help you set those goals and help you get you moving in that right direction. And the last other thing I would say is just be consistent and don't try to go 0 to 100.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Tony.
You're welcome.